Okay, happy Monday, and welcome back. We have 4 more days until history changes, and who knows what's going to happen between now and Friday. The Russians aren't particularly certain. Story today, I'm hopeful you read it. The Russian Foreign Ministry said, quote, Obama still has a few days left to destroy the world. And there is a good reason that Vladimir Putin and the Russian top political echelon has been avoiding the media following the onslaught of allegations thrown at the Kremlin. And Trump, as AP writes, careful not to hurt chances for a thaw in U.S.-Russian relations. But here's the big deal. What, and I still have no answer, is Obama doing in Poland and all up and down the Russian border in Eastern Europe? Tens of thousands of troops, hundreds of thousands perhaps when you add in NATO, all the tanks, all the armored vehicles, all the high-tech cruise missiles and other short-range, medium-range missiles. It's all there. They've rolled it all out. You're not hearing the whole story. What are they doing? Is Obama going to start something off, trying to light off a regional war with Russia? Maybe worse? How do you stop a war with the technology that is now on the battlefield? How do you know who bombed whom? How do you really know? Well, the military knows, but how do we know? We only know what the fake media tells us. Fake news, fake media, fake reporters, fake reality. So I'm just trying to make the point again that an operation which involved another false flag could easily be launched. And who would be blamed? Probably not Russia. Probably the Iranians. The Iranians did it. What is it? Could be a dirty bomb. It could be a small nuke in some American town, city. We don't know. I'm just telling you, anything is possible. I'm not being alarmist. I think I'm being pragmatic and realistic. We know that Obama has spent perhaps hundreds of millions of dollars sending American troops, working with others to align themselves all up and down the Russian border. Do you know that it is perfectly legal for Russia to take out all those forces? Under the United Nations Charter, and I've said this before, any nation has the legal right to destroy any military that is aligned, brought up to strength, or otherwise deployed along its borders. If they feel threatened, they have a right to remove that threat, a legal right under the United Nations. So the Russians could take these people out if they want to, if they have to. If something got started, though, I'm telling you, it would escalate in a matter of moments, and then we're off and running to who knows where. I don't know that it's going to happen. Nobody knows. Nobody knows what's really being planned, but it's not good. First up tonight, our colleague and friend, Mr. Texe Mars. Welcome to 2017, Texe. How are you?
Hey, great, Jeff. What an introduction. It's great to be with you, by the way.
Thank you. Nice to hear your voice.
It's a great new year.
Yeah,
great new year.
Yeah. Well, we're 4 days away. 4 days.
Yeah, we are, and, it's exciting to be this close. And with Obama doing everything he's doing to sabotage everything from the inauguration, and we have all of these I don't know whether they're George Soros paid for agents of destruction, and of course we have
pretty
all these
good
crazies.
Guess. Pretty good guess, Texe.
Yeah, we do. We have all these crazies, from Hollywood and all that. This is a strange thing. I really wonder, and I'm not trying to frighten or anything at all, but I'm wondering if we're going to have Trump as president at all, for sure.
I just tried to make that point. We don't know what's going to happen between now and Friday. We don't know.
No, we really don't. There might be an assassination. Who knows? We hear that this the department, the D.C., the Washington D.C. area general in charge of the National Guard has been fired.
That's right. It basically fired the moment Trump takes his inauguration to the point of the swearing-in ceremony. That guy is being relieved at that moment when the guard changes officially and formally. This seems to be not only unnecessary, but pretty damn weird. Why would they do that? This came from the Pentagon, but who told the Pentagon to do it? Why not leave the guy in there for a week and then have an orderly transition? I don't get it.
Well, unless something is going to happen in the D.C. area.
Exactly.
At the inauguration. And then, of course, he's not there anymore. He's gone. Who are they going to? Who is his second in command? Who's going to take over then? Could it be?
Well, I'm sure they have somebody, but we don't know who. That's not being talked about. It's just another very strange thing. And if we want to be paranoid, Texe, it's another sign that something has been planned. And I don't like to think like that, but something ugly, something weird, something bizarre. Don't know. That's
true. And of course, here we have Brennan shooting his mouth off. I mean, the head of the CIA doesn't go on some TV news program and shoot his mouth off like this guy did. And I'm sure that he's going to resign effective immediately. We already know that. So he's only got a couple of days also. But what is he shooting his mouth off for? That isn't done. The CIA, is a quiet person. So he's there. Blasting away.
Look at his face, Texe, excuse me. Look at John Brennan's face. Look at his eyes. Tell me if you don't see evil in those eyes, unless he's laughing. If he's being stoic or just speaking, look at that face. He's a Wahhabi Muslim. These Muslims don't mind killing people at all. And don't forget, the biggest fraud of all is the Islamic religion. It was created, as Texe knows and has told us, by the Catholic Church. It's a fraud. It got out of control, and it's no more legitimate. The Boy Scouts are just as legitimate.
And something is also going to happen in the realm of the Jews. Now, I would like to just sit back and say we have a new president. Let's forget about the Jews. Let's forget about Israel. I mean, what harm could they do? I mean, in the whole world, there are only about 15 to 18 million Jews.
Right.
I mean, we have more people in the state of Texas than exist Jews in the entire world. So what are we concerned about here? Now, I realize that our president-elect, Donald Trump, has seemingly sided with the Jews. His own son-in-law, Jared Kushner, is Jewish, is going to be the senior advisor in the White House to Trump. His daughter is married to Kushner. Of course, his daughter converted to Orthodox Judaism.
Orthodox. And where were they on election eve? They went to, we talked about this, they went to Rabbi Schneerson's grave and prayed. I can't imagine how Donald Trump feels.
There you go. So, but supposedly, Trump is backing Israel now. He has said, he wants the capital to change, of course, from Tel Aviv to the old holy city of Jerusalem. And of course, that's made Netanyahu extremely happy. It seems the Jews are just a little bit leery of Trump. They can't quite figure him out. But right now, they're almost deliriously happy because they thought in his early speeches this last year, they thought he was going to oppose them. Now, I don't know what he's going to do. It's going to be interesting to see. I do believe something big is going to happen in Judaism and in Israel this year.
Good point.
And of course, right at this moment, while you and I are talking, Jeff, the Jews are at their very height. They just went in and bombed Damascus, the capital of Syria. Right. I mean, they're the Russians and the Syrians, Assad, managed with great bloodshed and great suffering to overcome ISIS and Al-Qaeda, which was supported, of course, by the United States. So they've overcome that through Russia's help, Syria, and suddenly here comes the Israelis and bomb the airport of the capital of Syria, and Syria says we're going to get revenge. You're not going to get away with this. Well, what's going to happen there? That could start start a world war. And of course, right now they have stolen all this land. and we can go back to 1948 and systematic theft of the land of the Palestinians, and they placed their own settlers. That's sort of like, I don't know, let's just take the Midwest, up there, and Illinois or maybe Michigan, and say the Japanese come in one day and, start stealing the land, just take the people and kill them and say, your land is our land. Well, I think the people would rise up against the Japanese.
You mean kind of like the Muslims are doing in Germany and Europe? And where is the rising up of the European people? Where is their soul? Where is their identity? Where is their strength of character?
That is the same thing. Over 1 million Muslims, only, according to a recent report, less than 3% even have a job or want to work. And most of them say, we're a guest here. We don't want to work. We don't have to work.
Well, why should they work when they're being given everything, for God's sakes? There's no reason for them to work.
Merkel has given us everything. Why should we have to go to work?
Right.
All we want is to rape the women. That's why, and most of them are men there. So that's a strange turn of events. But now back to the Jews. They, recently, our Secretary of State, John Kerry, did a very smart thing. Now, I know he was savage and battered by the congressmen and by everybody. Even Trump said he was wrong.
Uh-huh.
But he was right. Let's see why he was right. What did he say? He said, first of all, that the Israelis should not steal the land and put their own settlers on it. And that's true. Anyone would go along with that, wouldn't they?
Absolutely.
I mean, that's why the United Nations criticized Israel for stealing the land and putting their own people to live there. Then second of all, he said something so vitally important, and this is going to mean something to people out there when I explain this. What he said was that the Jews in Israel claim to be a democratic state. They claim to be a democracy. They say they're America's great democratic friend in the Middle East. They claim to be a democracy. But here's what John Kerry said. Now, I think John Kerry is a dumb man. This is one of the only things he's ever said that I agreed with.
I think he was struggling to try to come up with some kind of a legacy of intelligence. You're right. He is a dolt.
He is. He really is. But here's what he said. He said, Israel claims to be a Jewish state.
Right.
He said, and a democratic state. But he said that you cannot be both democratic and Jewish at the same time. Now, that sounds strange. People say, why not? Well, here's the point. There are in Israel about the same number of Arabs and others living there. There are many Christians, too, living there.
Right.
But there are all these Arabs who live there in Israel and have lived there with their families and their great-grandfathers, etc., all their lives.
Right.
There are as many as there are Jews. Now, if you say you're a Jewish state, and then that only the Jews have rights.
Right.
See, right now today, if you're not a Jewish citizen, there are roads you cannot even travel on.
It's unbelievable.
There are buses you cannot get on.
It's not even back of the bus. You don't get on the bus, and it's not coloreds only bathrooms. You don't use the bathrooms in that part of town. Period. You got to go and find somewhere else. What they're doing there, Texe, is so outrageous, as you probably well know, as much as anyone can know, and yet the media gives them a pass, just like they did Hillary Clinton, because the people who own our media are Jewish and they're loyal to Israel. I understand that, but it doesn't make it right.
Oh no, but isn't Kerry correct when he said you can either be democratic or you can be Jewish, but you cannot be both? That's
a fascinating statement.
The Jews, that just tore them up because suddenly somebody said something very wise there.
Yeah.
Now, that would be just like in America, we have people of many religions, we have people of no religion, but we don't say only Christians can own homes. Only if you're a born-again Christian can you own a business.
Right.
Only if you're a born-again Christian can you travel on certain highways. You see, only if you're a Christian can you vote even. We don't do that. We say every citizen, every citizen has the same rights. Well, in Israel, every citizen does not have the same rights. And that's what Kerry was saying. You can't claim you're a democracy when half your people can't even... They can't even own their own house.
No, they're not allowed to date. Jews aren't allowed to date non-Jews. It goes on and on. That's right. It's so crazy. It's beyond belief.
A Jewish woman had sex with a Palestinian man that she met. Mm-hmm. They went up on that. They met in front of some store. This is a true story. And they went up on top of the roof right there and had sex together.
Now, that's a little weird.
This kind of
all right.
depravity occurs all the time in Israel. And then, but when she found out that he was Palestinian, then she went to the police and turned him in. She said he and I had sex together on top of this building, but I didn't know he was Palestinian. Now I know he's Palestinian.
I think
so they went and arrested the Palestinian, and then he was given a trial, and he was the man is in prison today for having sex. You can't have sex with a Jew if you're a Palestinian, or if you're a Christian, of course, the same way. And so this is the same thing. If you're a Jew, you can immigrate to Israel, but not if you're a Christian Jew. They will not allow that. They're prejudiced. But see, the papers in the United States don't even tell us that. They hide these facts.
You just said it. These are all facts that Texas is bringing to us. There's no conjecture here. These are reality. These are facts.
They are. Now, I'll tell you, Jeff, I just determined that, let me just give God credit. I wanted to know what Judaism really is. Now, I have friends, and you have friends like Michael Hoffman. Mm-hmm. He's written over 1,000-page book on Judaism.
Yeah.
But I read that entire book, but something was, not quite there. And it wasn't his purpose. He has a great purpose in his book. It's a wonderful book that we offer his book through our ministry. But I've gone to all the Christian bookstores. I went to all the religious bookstores. I wanted to find out, do you have a book that will explain Judaism? And guess what? You cannot find, you can find books about Judaism in Christian bookstores. They'll tell you all about it. How wonderful a religion it is. They believe in God. Mm-hmm. They believe in the Old Testament. But I discovered by going to the rabbis themselves, I went to the rabbis themselves and I asked, what do you believe? And they said, well, here's our books. So they gave me all of their books. These are books that are not available to Christians. These are books that passed from the guy that's head of the First Baptist Church to the guy that's let's just put it this way: there's no ministers in America that know this. It is really simple. What did the Jews teach in their religion? That's what I wanted to know. I didn't want to be spouting stuff that wasn't true. I wanted to tell people exactly what Jews really believed. And so I set out and I wrote a book. And I have the book now. It was published, this last year. Yeah. It's entitled, now get this, Jeff, The Holy Serpent of the Jews. Mm-hmm. And in this book, I have rabbi after rabbi. I have rabbis who are living today, and I have the great, venerated, sage rabbis of yesterday. And then I have all kind of quotes right from their Talmud, which is their holy book, most holy book of the Jews, and the Kabbalah, also a holy set of books for the Jews. So you can't go wrong, right? When you've gone to the rabbis themselves, and these are rabbis who teach in synagogues today in America and the world. These are the chief rabbis of Israel and of the United States and of Rome and all around the world. And so you can't go wrong when you get it from the horse's mouths themselves,
right,
what they're teaching. And by the way, they're teaching these things to Jews today on the internet. You can go and see all these different websites where they teach you. Now, if I'm a Christian, I can go to many, because there are a lot of fakers and false teachers out there. But generally, I can go to, let's say, 100 Christian pastors, and I can learn the essence of Christianity. You know, Jesus Christ, he died on the cross. I could give you probably 10 things that would constitute what is a Christian. And you can do that for the Jews, too. This is what I did in this book. And I'll tell you, Jeff, I discovered the truth about Judaism. Now,
a perfect place to pause. Hold on. Hold that thought. That was a perfect cue. We got to take a little break here. Now, when Texe Mars makes a statement like that, I don't want anybody leaving. Stay tuned and consider getting the book. Once again, like David Duke, universally smeared and slandered by the controlled Zionist media in this country. But what David Duke does in his videos and his editorials is the same thing Texe did. You go to the source, you get the quotes, you compile them, you sequence them, you put them together, and you let people read them for themselves, and they make up their own minds. That's all we're doing here. There's nothing wrong with that. It's called First Amendment. Actually, it's called common sense. So hang on, and Texe and I will be right back. Don't go away. Okay, let's get right back to Texe and find out what he found. Go ahead, Texe. This is going to be interesting. Out of their own mouths.
Well, absolutely their own mouths. Now, I want to start off with Jesus. Remember, he was, put to death by the Jews during his day. But he said something very interesting, and I wanted to know if Jesus told the truth. Now, I've never talked to a Christian who told me that Jesus was a liar. And I don't believe he lied either, but I believe he told the truth. Here's what he said, and so your audience can ask themselves, was Jesus a truth teller or was he a liar? Because here's what he told the Jews to their faces. This is in Matthew 23. He said, "You serpents," now he's speaking to the Jews, "you serpents, you generation," that's race, "of vipers, how can you escape the damnation of hell?"
Wow.
Now, I'll tell you, if he'd have told me that, I would have melted. I mean, imagine. Yeah. But they didn't. They put him to death. They got angry, and they put him to death. So we start with Jesus Christ. But let's not take Jesus, because after all, he is a bastard. That's what the Jews say in their Talmud, that Jesus is a bastard. He's a liar.
They say a lot worse than that. Yeah.
He's a horrible person. His mother is a whore. All those things. So let's just go to the people they venerate the most, their own rabbis. What do they say? Well, they say that the Jews are a race of serpents. Wow. Well, isn't that what Jesus said? The rabbis also say that their Messiah is a serpent, and his name is Leviathan. Now, they say that this serpent is actually the Jewish people. They say we are actually our own Messiah. So now we have the Messiah of the Jews, the one that many people say, oh, the Messiah of the Jews is going to come someday. They believe that they will become gods on that day. They actually have a term, they call it the Day of Purification. The Day of Purification. The whole world will be purified. Now, two things happen on the Day of Purification. There are many things that happen. Let's just say three. There's three big events. First, everyone who does not worship as the Jews do, in other words, refuses to worship the serpent, which is their symbol of their power, and their symbol of themselves as Messiah, will be put to death. So all Gentiles will be killed. and all of your goods, all your gold, your money, whatever, will be taken from you.
Yep.
That's number one. Number two, as I said, they become gods. And number three, they're going to have a great feast. I call it the Feast of the Beast. In fact, I've written an entire new book. It'll be out in about 3 weeks, entitled Feast of the Beast. And they say, in fact, Leo Scalia, one of the great scholars of Judaism, in his book on the Kabbalah, says during this great feast, we will... Now, the Christians have communion. And many Christians believe that they're actually consuming the body of Jesus Christ, the body and the blood. The Jews believe that they're going to consume the body and blood of the serpent. They say, we will consume the serpent, we shall become the serpent during our great feast of Leviathan. That's what they term it. They are going to have a Feast of Leviathan. You can go and Google up Feast of Leviathan, and it will tell you all about it. You can see the Texe Moors did not make this up. They will have the Feast of Leviathan. You must go probably to the Kabbalah to find out that that's where the great, serpent. They say this serpent is huge because he's a ruler of the whole world. But you see, once they become gods, they become the serpent. They no longer need an individual serpent. They become the serpent. So now, the Jews, do they believe in more than God, one God? Christians say, don't the Jews believe in the great I am? Didn't Moses believe in the great I am of the Bible? Well, yes, Moses did, but the Jews are not Moses. They reject the God of, Jacob, Isaiah, Jeremiah, Moses, etc. They have their own gods, plural. Their God is the serpent, and they have something called the tree of life. Now, most people have heard about the tree of life. And on the tree of life, I have in my book, let's see, page 19, a copy from a Jewish textbook that has their tree of life. And the serpent is spread throughout it because he is the central focus of the tree of life. And they have at least 10 deities or gods or goddesses within their tree of life. So they have many, many more gods and goddesses than that. But they have no God that they can pray to. Remember, if you worship
no central serpent, deity, they've got a whole bus full.
That's right. They got a whole bus full, and they're goddesses too. They actually have sex in their minds with their goddesses. For example, if I'm a Jew, I can bow down and pray to the goddess Malkuth. Malkuth is the great princess, and she and I can have sex together in my mind. When I have sex with my wife, I believe I'm having sex with Malkuth, and she is having sex with Yesud. Now, who is this Yesud? Well, Yesud is a god in the tree of life. And the Jews believe that Yesud is the prince, or the let's just say the mate, or the consort of the goddess. Yesud is actually the male sex organ.
Oh.
In other words, he's the
I
penis.
got it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And of course, Malkuth then is the vagina.
This is awfully primitive stuff, Texe.
Yes, it really.
So put it politely.
Cult.
That's right.
That's right. It's a sex cult.
Well,
the whole Jewish religion is not a religion; it's a sex cult. It's based on the sex, but like in the ancient Greek religion. Remember, the gods would have sex with the goddesses, and
right.
Zeus with his daughter Athena. All these things, they believe the same way. And these various gods and goddesses are constantly having sex with each other and with human beings. And so it's an astonishing thing. But now, if you ask a Jew, what God do you pray to? They cannot tell you, because one thing is for sure. They do not know the name of their God. He has no name. They say that
so if
God...
Texe, hold on. If we were to ask a rabbi, say we had a rabbi on with us, what is the name of the God to which you pray? He couldn't tell us. He couldn't give us a name. There's too many to choose from.
God.
Yeah.
He would say God is God.
All right.
But you would say, but I want to know the name of your God.
Which one?
Now,
all right.
I've talked to rabbis before on this, and they look at me and smile very coyly, and they say, well, our God is, we spell our God G, and then we don't use the O and then D. So they cannot even spell their God.
Wow. They
say their God cannot communicate with them. He has no mind to communicate with them, and actually all he does is emit certain sparks of divinity. Now these 10 gods and goddesses in the tree of life, they are all sparks. They are divine sparks of the great God, but he has no name. He cannot communicate with human beings. See, you can get down on your knees and pray to Jesus. You can pray to the Christian God, but the Jew cannot. Now, the problem is then, who do they pray to? Well, many of them feel like we should be praying to some god or goddess, so they choose one of these gods or goddesses from the tree of life. But many of them actually pray to Lucifer, and they call him Lucifer. So they pray to Satan. And so this is yet another god. But it's a confusion, because actually they worship Satan. Satan is, or Leviathan, is the very god and goddess. By the way, Satan has two aspects. He's both male and female in the Jewish religion. So the serpent, there are two serpents. They say there's a serpent called Behemoth, and then there's a serpent called Leviathan. And they can pray to either one of these serpents as well. And these two serpents have sex. And from that great sex act, the son will come forth. That would be the Antichrist, So it's a very confusing religion. It's a religion based on sex. And it's really an unbelievable religion. And the thing is, they know that it's a sex-based religion. Now, I'll tell you, I wrote a book about architecture. It's about the monuments of architecture.
Sure.
And it's about a 600-page book.
It's amazing, amazing achievement. Yeah.
And one of the things that I studied was Jewish cemeteries, because I wanted to know what are their. You can find out a lot about people's culture by going to their cemeteries and looking at their gravestones and such. I noticed that many of the Jews would have gravestones that were shaped like obelisk. And they would also have, on many gravestones of the Jews, these are in their cemeteries. And I encourage people to go to a Jewish cemetery and visit, especially an old one that's maybe over 50 or 60 years old. And you will see the serpent inscribed on, and of course with
on
Hebrew
the
writing.
Obelisk, yeah.
Yeah, and you will see that there will be an obelisk or a stone, and you will see this serpent there. And many times he will be a crowned serpent, because they believe the serpent is king. He's the Messiah. Now, why would they put a serpent on their gravestone? That they are saying, we believe this person who died here was a righteous person. Why was he righteous? Because he believed in the serpent, and he obeyed the serpent. And that's why we put the serpent as the symbol. Now, strangely enough, not only on their gravestones, Jeff, but also in the book, the Protocols of the Learned Elders of Zion. Now, the Jews say this is a hocus-pocus book.
Right.
It's not true. But when you go to that book, I find that it goes right in line with what the Judaism teaches.
Oh, it's the whole playbook. It's the game plan. It's all right there. Yeah.
That's right. chapter in the, it's not a long book at all, the synagogue, the Protocols of Zion, but there is a chapter there which talks about the Great Serpent. They say our symbolical serpent will slowly traverse the earth, conquering nation by nation until he has every nation on earth in his mouth. Now, this is the Ouroboros. Now, you've seen this occult symbol of the serpent, the round serpent, and he's biting his own tail.
Right.
He has it within his mouth.
Right.
That is the Jewish serpent. They believe he's the serpent who will conquer the world. And they believe this serpent will conquer the world for the Jews, and then they will have this great feast of Leviathan, in which the day of purification will come, when all the Christians will be slain, except those few who agree to be slaves.
Wow.
So if you agree to be a slave, of course, they'll just take all of your wealth.
This is not very encouraging news to hear all this. It does sound confused and confusing, but above all, it's clearly predicated on a very base view of life and the universe. Just roll the whole thing in. It's not. It doesn't sound enlightened to me. Kind, moral, generous. It doesn't sound like it follows the golden rule. It sounds like it mocks the golden rule. That's what you're bringing forth from their own words, their own writings, and they seem to hide behind a veil that no one can get to this stuff easily. So this book of yours is going to be another troublemaker.
Well, actually, I must admit to you that I was not surprised to find out and discover that the World Jewish Congress has written a letter to Mr. Bezos, the head of Amazon,
right,
demanding that my book be taken off of Amazon's list. They say that Mr. Mars is a quote, notorious anti-Semite.
Yeah.
And his book, The Holy Serpent of the Jews, must be taken off of your list. Now, this is the World Jewish Congress demanding that my book be taken. Now, what harm could a little old, a Christian man here in Austin, Texas, what harm could I do? And especially since I quote all these rabbis. Now, they don't say, the World Jewish Congress doesn't say why this book is anti-Semite. They just make the accusation. It's sort of
that's all they do. That's the Southern Poverty Law Center is simply an instrument of slander, libel, and complete character assassination. That's what they do. I call it, I really do think it's a terror organization. The way they take people apart and with no basis in fact, just destroy people.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's amazing. And by the way, my subtitle in this book, it's entitled The Holy Serpent of the Jews. The subtitle is The Rabbi's Secret Plan for Satan to Crush Their Enemies and Vault the Jews to Global Dominion. But I don't know of any other religion that literally believes that only their race, they're race-based. And this is why the Jews supposedly so hated the Nazis, because the Nazis sort of took what the Jews had, the same ideas, of the race-based situation, and so the Jews, can't stand that. But it's interesting to me. You take the Muslims. Now, I'm opposed to Islam. It's an evil religion. And I'm sorry to say that.
I wouldn't even call it a religion, but that's certainly what most people do. It's a belief system. It's a cult, and it is absolutely a cult of death and sex. That's an easy one.
That's right. It is. It's very close to Judaism in its beliefs, but yet the Muslim will accept into their faith anyone of any race. In fact, they say you have to join, right? You have
that's
to
right. Or you lose your head.
You lose your head, right? But it's interesting that the Jews don't care about the other races. They say that the Judaism is only for the Jews. Now, it's interesting to me, this thing about the Jews. So their religion is for the Jews. It's of, by, and for the Jews. And they don't really care whether Ivanka Trump becomes a Jew or not. You know, because the religion is not for her. And, in fact, she will always be an inferior being in Judaism.
Second class or worse, yeah.
Exactly. That's right. So this is what their religion is based on. And, you know, I don't understand this at all. I don't understand why we should put up with a religion that is so hateful. It's the most hateful religion I've ever seen. And it's a sex cult. But it's interesting that they hide it. You know, there's actually a provision in the Jewish Talmud that you cannot, if you're a Jew, you cannot teach the Talmud to a Gentile. They say that if the Gentiles learn the truth, what the Talmud really teaches, they would turn on us and kill us. That's what the Talmud says. So they actually, well, that sort of makes sense to me, although I don't kill anybody, and I don't recommend anybody harm anybody at all. But it's a dangerous thing to not teach what your religion is. Now, I encourage anybody to read the Bible. Go to the Bible and read it. Go to the New Testament, read it word for word. You'll learn what Christianity is. But the Jews don't tell Gentiles, go and read our Talmud. They don't want you to read it. In fact, it is against their laws. Now, here's an interesting thing. There is in the Talmud also a provision that says on the Sabbath, now get this, only on the Sabbath, on the Sabbath it is lawful for a Jew to communicate with serpents. Now, that's an interesting thing. You can communicate with serpents, and you can even get the serpent to do your bidding on the Sabbath. Now, also, all of this is built in. But I'd like to quote, if I could, let's see, it's on page 20 of my book. And this will explain exactly who the serpent is. I want people to understand this is, you know, it's not Texe Mars.
Right.
First of all, let's go here and see what we can see about the Okay. Now, first of all, we have several. I have so many rabbis I can quote forever here. Here's one, for example, Rabbi Lightman, Laitman, in his daily Kabbalah lesson of the Zohar. By the way, Rabbi Lightman is one of the most famous rabbis in the world today. He says, quote, "The snake comes as medication. He is an angel sent to us. We should be grateful to the serpent for its help. The serpent has a very important mission. The serpent is the angel of help." So he guides the Jews. Now, Rabbi Joel Boxt has written a number of books, and I've read these books. He says the secret of Judaism is that the Jews are contained in the belly of the serpent. We are, as a people, the serpent within the serpent. I think that's sort of interesting, isn't it?
Fascinating.
They are the serpent within the serpent.
Like I say, it gets more and more confused the more you study it. Very
it really
convoluted stuff. Yeah.
It is. They also say that the letter Vav, V-A-V, was a Hebrew letter. You know, they believe that all the letters of the Hebrew alphabet are holy. And they're called, like numbers or gematria. But these numbers, the rabbis, study even the direction that certain letters point to and all that. But they believe that this letter Vav is an evidence that the serpent is a deity. And they say that the letter Vav, which is hidden within the Torah, the first 5 books of the Bible, is an essential foundation of Jewish tradition. They say it is found exactly at the middle point of the Torah, and that's why they say they're in the middle of the belly.
Well,
the serpent.
I got it.
The serpent is found in the middle of the Torah, It's the letter Vav, V-A-V, which is very interesting. And by the way, when Mr. Spock, he did his sign, it is a sign of prosperity for the Jews. When he did his hand sign that became so famous. It's a sign of prosperity for the Jews, but it's also a sign of the serpent, giving you prosperity.
Well, the serpent is a reptile, and then you go back to the reptilian issue, which is another story, but that's interesting how they kind of cross paths in this whole strange story. It's very strange. When's the book coming out, Tex? We run out of time here already, so just want to remind people.
The Holy Serpent of the Jews is out right now, and people can get it on Amazon, or they can order it through our ministry.
Holy Serpent of the Jews. This is remarkable material that really you just don't hear. Nobody talks about it, except you. We're glad to present it. People should know. They should know all of these things. They should be exposed to all of it. Should be no secrets.
I would like for everyone, Jeff, to get a copy of this book and give to their pastor. Because pastors don't know. Idea. But this is the one volume that will teach them everything, what the rabbis say about their own religion.
Yeah. Well, that's crucial.
And I think that would make it valuable.
No more appropriate spokesperson than a rabbi. So good job. Fascinating hour, Tex. Again, opening a door and looking in on unknown territory. We just don't know. Now we've got a glimpse of it anyhow. Just really remarkable. Strange stuff. Strange stuff.
It is.
Thank you, Tex.
Really is.
All right.
Well, thank you, Jeff, so much.
Sure. Talk to you next month, as always. You be well, and let's hope we get to Friday and through it safely, huh?
All right, we will. God bless. Bye-bye.
All righty. Good night. Mr. Tex Mars, and that's hour number 1. Be right back. Okay, we made it to another Monday. Welcome back. I hope you had a nice weekend. We'll get another chance in 5 days. Well, we hope so. You never know. There's so much going on out there, as I've been trying to keep you alerted to. It is overwhelming. It's over the top. It is really crazy. And I would suggest it's crazier than we can imagine, probably crazier than we are able to imagine. The levels of turmoil, subterfuge, chaos, plotting, backstabbing, intrigue, you name it, it's going on. And if you look at the top of Rense right now, you'll see the deputy right under Reince Priebus, his number one, has been found out to be, according to one fairly substantial report, the source of the worst leaks coming out of the upper levels of the Trump administration. And if this is true, and I've made it pretty clear, Priebus has to go immediately. Immediately. He should have never been named in the first place to chief of staff, but his deputy chief of staff certainly works under him, close with him every day, all the time. If he didn't know that she was leaking to the New York Times and other people, he damn well should have. That's his job. And I'm suggesting he surely did know. He's probably leaking things on his own. Remember, he's from Wisconsin. Scotty Walker, the governor, Rat Ryan, 2 heartbeats away from being president of these formerly United States. That's it. 2 heartbeats from the rat. Pence and Trump. And then we have Priebus, the big 3 from Wisconsin. Priebus, Ryan, and Walker. And before that, Dick Cheney hung out in that state for a lot of years. So it's a pretty malignant, malevolent lineage if you look at it. And I'm here to tell you that Trump has got to start firing these people. The problem is, if he does, they may take him out. He's really caught between a rock and a hard place. I don't know what he is or isn't anymore. He has changed 180 degrees on too many crucial, pivotal issues. These are big, big deals. So who is Trump? Well, one of the Trumps certainly was the man we saw in Florida. And I said it last week and the week before. I said he's got to get away from this inner circle of insulation, isolation, and control that he is in the White House. These people, this creep, Jared Kushner, the little slimy, greasy, Jewish dual citizen. This guy's poison. I'm going to stop there and welcome back the amazing Texe Mars, who is with us tonight. Texe, welcome back, my friend. How are you?
Hey, Jeff, I'm doing pretty good listening to your comments there and finding a lot to say about them, and to agree with as well.
Let me tell you one other thing. We're going to find out more about this later on this evening. If you remember the story the other day that a major league Russian intelligence ship is in international waters off the East Coast. I don't know what is that, 10, 20 miles, something like that. Have you heard anything, any complaints from the Trump administration about that? Nope.
No,
they've noted it's out there, but that's all they've done.
There's some strange story to that.
Yes, there is.
There. I don't know if it was simply for a political gambit by Putin. It seems to be more than that.
I think your instincts are right, and I'll tell you what I think, and then I'm going to step aside.
All right.
I think there is a reasonable chance, that ship is there intentionally, and it may be collecting information that just might find its way to the Trump himself.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it. He needs help. The intel community is after him. There's a soft coup underway. And if the Trump, the man, were to come by some information that would help him, that might help the world stay away from war. When you look at that little pompous ass Pence, it kind of rhymes, doesn't it? Pompous ass Pence. Yeah, he's something else. Anyway, Texe, tell us what's on your mind.
Well, it's going to go right in line with what we're talking about, what you're discussing here tonight, Jeff. But I've been doing a lot of study on the Trump phenomenon, but really the whole aspect of it. Because, when you said that things are crazy now, things are chaotic, plotting is everywhere, and there's so many people, so many agencies, so many institutions that oppose what Trump stands for, his ideas, his promises made to the so-called forgotten man, and I believe that's a good term, the forgotten man out there. And I put myself in that element, Jeff. You and I, we're two of the forgotten deplorables, I suppose. But I ask myself, what is really going on? We have exposed the New World Order for many years. We have known about what they're calling globalism, the New World Order, the drive for a one world government, and they called us a conspiracy theorist. You're a conspiracy theorist. You're this, you're that. And I remember 20 years ago when I was on radio programs, not yours, of course. You know a lot better, but when I was on radio programs, and I would talk about the media being liberal and politically correct. Right. I would be just skewed. I mean, they would just say you're a horrible person. Of course, this cannot be true. The media is not biased. How can you even dare to say such a thing? That would be like saying we don't have free speech in America. Well, I said, well, we don't. And they would really go into,
bet they did.
Just totally nuts.
Yeah.
And so we've had to put up with this for many, many years. But now everything that we've talked about, everything that we've exposed, unmasked over the years is coming true. And thanks to Donald Trump to a great extent, but also our own research, all the books we've done, all the things you've been publishing over the years, Jeff. Now we see that it's right in line with what's been going on. Of course, it has to be. We know what the media is. We know all of this.
Oh, yeah.
I've always known that a government, a world government, and that is their goal. And the thing, the reason they're so insane, the reason why these people, and I'll be glad to say who those people are as we go on, but the reason they're so insane and so nuts and they're going wild now. And now they're throwing all kind of accusations untrue with fake news and so forth at Trump. They're desperate to get rid of this guy in some way to try to stop the approach of what's really happening. They can't stand us, and now they know that we're about to get the driver's seat from them. I mean, there's a real struggle here for the wheel. Now the car's careening toward the cliff. It's fixing to go over, and we're fighting for that wheel. And this is what is going on. But I thought about it. And I said, any new world order needs three main legs, you might say, three main posts. It needs economic, of course, religious, and political. Economic, religious, and political. This is the tripod by which a government will take us over. Now, of course, there is cultural, social, but the cultural really depends on the economic, the religious, and the political. But let's just take that economic, religious, and political. And all three areas, all three legs, Donald Trump, in what he has said, now, not necessarily what he will do, but what he has said and what he's already doing in his first month in office, threatens the establishment, terribly so. I mean, this is like nothing they've ever seen, and it's all occurred in the last year, and they can't believe it. They can't believe that suddenly conspiracy theory has come alive. Now it's conspiracy science.
Yes, it is.
So this is what I call populism versus globalism. We're populist. Why? Because we're for the common man. We're for the everyday person. We're for Joe out there, Joe and Sally, so to speak. Yeah. We're for local government. We're for freedom. We're for independence. We're for a person doing whatever, they want to do as long as they don't harm another person. We really believe that. That's populism. And they are globalists. Globalists are for a government control over everything, even the environment, even the food we eat, where we go, how we get to where we're going, even the air we breathe. The globalists want to control everything, economically, religious, and political. Now, all of these areas, economic, political, religious, have been controlled by the establishment, and they have been making such headway. I mean, let's just take one, and people may not agree with this one, but think about it from a religious standpoint. I mean, the Pope of Rome, he says, he wants a new world order. He wants world government. Now, he may or may not get to be the top honcho in that world government, but he says that Muslim is the same as Christianity. Well, he says that ISIS is just like Jesus.
God,
he says that the book of Islam, the Quran, the Holy Quran, you can read it, and he reads it himself, and he recommends it to people. He kisses the previous pope, went with a Muslim imam in Morocco, and took the Quran, and Pope John Paul II kissed the Quran. He kissed it. That's how much he loves the Holy Quran.
He needs to be removed immediately, Texe. This. I hope this is the last pope, as some have said. We're done with this crap.
He's a very evil man. He's a Jesuit. He knows what he's doing.
Yes.
But he recently announced that there is no terrorism. There is no Islamic
unbelievable.
terrorism. You see, I mean, it's like they want to redefine everything. They want us to change our minds. So if you even imagine that there's terrorists out there, you're crazy. Why, there's no terrorism. And of course, Merkel over in Germany, that's what she said. She's brought in over 2 million Muslims. And these people, a recent report showed that I think it's like 2.6%, less than 3% of all the Muslims that she's brought into Germany have a job. Over 97% have no job. And they polled the Muslims in Germany, and they said, why should we work? The government is giving us everything we need.
That's exactly right, of course.
Housing, a stipend, money to live on. They're giving us utilities, food. phones. They get everything. Transportation. They don't want to work. They don't apply for jobs. They're just worthless bums. I mean, but this is the kind of people they were when they were back in Syria or Iraq or, wherever they came from, Somalia, Nigeria. And that's what they're going to, they don't change overnight, of course. They don't change at all. And so that's what we have also in America with all of these incredible people from the Middle East. But the fact is that Merkel says there is no terrorism. That was in the paper this week. She says in Cologne, Germany last Christmas and the Christmas before, over 500 women were raped and sexually mauled in one night. I mean, I lived in Germany for 2.5 years, and when I was in the Air Force as an officer, and I'll bet you they didn't have 3 sexual assaults in an entire year in Cologne. And this is 500 in one night. I mean, it's incredible, and they even hid that statistic. They try to hide what the Muslims do so we won't know, so that our minds will be polluted with lies from the press. But in any case, religious things. Now we're told, and now the Southern Baptist Convention, why they're helping the Muslims to build mosques across America, helping them. They say that's freedom of religion. We need to help them. Help the devil? Help the devil? Come on. This is the devil's religion. And if you're a Christian that helps it, you're a devil yourself. So this is what we have in the Southern Baptist field.
Is there some kind of a Christian suicidal ethic that I don't know about that is sneaking in here and pushing Christians to help their own executioners? I don't get it, Texe.
Well, I'll tell you, it's really changed. I'm a little bit older, but I wrote a book about a year and a half, 2 years ago, called "Pastors and Churches Gone Wild." And I had hundreds of cases of churches and pastors the things that I mentioned in that book. We could talk for days. They're terrible things. One church, they pass out the offering plate with condoms on it. Every Sunday they pass it out, and the pastor gets up and says, take a lot of them, just take gobs of these condoms, and it doesn't matter who you have sex with. That's communion. He says sex with other people, even if they're not your mate, that is Holy Communion, this church says. It's a Lutheran church. The pastor is licensed and ordained by the Lutheran church. And so there he's up there. It's a she in this case. Can you imagine passing out condoms and saying, take these and have Holy Communion with them? With whoever you want to? No,
they're mocking everything we knew as moral and right and holy, no matter what your religion. That's not religion, Texe, as you pointed out. Nothing to do with it.
It's not. But now here in Austin, Texas, the First Baptist Church has, I'll tell you, let me just put it this way. They had a New Ager, Matthew Fox. He was a Catholic priest. Now he's nothing. He had a service there, and he invited all the Muslims and Buddhists and all to go to the First Baptist Church, and they required you to pay because they want to help the migrants. What do they charge? $6.66. They were mocking God.
You got to be kidding! This is a Baptist church.
Yeah, this is the First Baptist Church.
This is unbelievable.
First Baptist. It's one of the most beautiful buildings in Austin, Texas. But this is it's Methodist, it's Episcopal, and of course it's all these new emerging churches.
666. They're mocking. 666. They're mocking God. That's right.
That's right. Yeah. That was a few years back, in fact. But they required people to pay, but only $6.66. They're mocking God, and they love it. They love to do it. Of course, but it doesn't matter. I'm not trying to pick one denomination. It goes across all of them. And of course now, the pastor gets out, he doesn't wear a suit or anything, he just wears, a sports shirt.
Oh, he's cool. I know, they're cool.
Yeah, and Warren, this guy, they call him Rick Warren, California, he goes around barefoot. He says, I'm so cool, I'm going to go barefoot.
Well, it's because he doesn't want to get his shoes wet when he walks on water, right?
I suppose so. But he went over to the Middle East because he wants to bring Islam and Christianity together. And there's a huge drive to do away with Christian crosses. Now you see the new churches don't have crosses because they say that might offend our Muslim and our Jewish and our other friends.
Well, the clock is 11:59 and ticking, Texe. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, that's right. Well, this is how depraved the pastors have been for many, many years. And now, I suppose, if you're just a mild pastor who just uses the Bible and you don't have to be a raving fundamentalist, but they called you one. You are one if you just believe in what God says. But they don't listen to what God says. They believe that's old-fashioned. And none of them believe in the Bible. And that's why so many of them believe in Judaism today. But now they're believing also in Islam. And of course, the Jews love this. The Jews are ahead. They're heads of most migrant and immigrant organizations in America. And because they have this, Ben Stein, the Hollywood guy.
Yeah, sure.
Ben Stein was on Fox News recently, and he was asked about Donald Trump, and he says, "Oh, he's a fascist. He's a Hitler." And so the woman reporter was intrigued, and she says, "Why do you say, Mr. Stein, that Donald Trump is Hitler?" He says, "Well, because don't you know he used the term America first? That shows he's a Hitler."
Oh, God.
Now, let's just stop right there, Jeff, just a minute. Think about that. If he uses the term America first, that's why Hillary didn't use America first. That's why Obama never used it. It's never used by anybody in politics. You won't hear anybody. You won't hear Pence get up and say it. Even the vice president won't say it. You won't hear Ryan or McConnell. None of them say America first. They don't believe in America first.
No, they don't. That's right.
That's old hat. So when Trump said it, it was like a shock to everybody. I mean, it gave me a shot of adrenaline, to be honest with you. I couldn't believe it. Right. It was a wonderful statement. But just to hear America first. Now, in the speech Saturday, Trump said about the beautiful engraving or whatever he used to say on products made in the USA. And the crowd went wild. They loved that. But see, nobody wants that. Walmart doesn't buy everything made in the USA. No, they buy very few things, very few products that are here to sell to others.
We're dying. The country. We have to pause, Texe. Hold on. The country is dying of a conspiracy, and that conspiracy, one of the main legs of it is political correctness. That's what they're hiding behind. We don't want to offend people. We have to be politically sensitive. No, we don't. And I think many Americans understand that, but I hope just as many also understand that we are under deadly attack right now, right this minute, and we'll be right back. Some really bad news from Europe this evening. As you know, most of you, the whole Muslim agenda and those who are running it is to bring them into a country and hit a certain percentage point. Once they've hit that percent level, it's 5 to 6%. There's nothing much the cops can do. Too many crimes, too many rapes, too many assaults. They can't deal with them. The courts, of course, penetrated. Many of them liberal and communist will let these people go. Excuse me, not people, subhumans. It is said now that in Paris, the migrants are in full riot. There is a war going on there now. The French citizens are fleeing. The cops cannot handle it. Paris is in grave trouble. We're getting that report from several people. Dr. Leonard Colwell just wrote, and he said civil war in France. He sent me a report in German. He says civil war in 20 French cities. Now, if that's true, that's completely coordinated, and we know that. We know what's happening in Sweden. But France, it looks like it's now too late. They're going to have to issue shoot-to-kill orders. Unfortunately, what that will do is cause the arming of the Muslims immediately, and they'll shoot back. So then you'll have full-blooded, no pun intended, civil war in the streets. That's how it's going. That's what's planned for us. Go ahead, Texe.
Well, that makes perfect sense, and it's right in accordance with the protocols of the learned elders of Zion. This is a book that everyone needs to get that book and read it, because that's what they say in there. They say at a given moment we can have mobs of people, insurrections on the street, and people will think that they're locally planned, but they will be done, at our behest. So this is part of the protocols. There's no doubt about it. Here in the United States, we see these planned protests, and everybody there is being paid. They're being bussed into these cities, and it's often the same people. And they go
that's
like,
right.
From this city to that
sure.
city.
Yeah.
And that's their job. I mean, if you want to talk about jobs, that's the only job they have.
Well, this is like Bolshevism. They were paid, many of them, in the beginning. Same thing that happened in Russia, overthrew the government there. And what do we have then? The Soviet Union, and how many dead? 60 million, 70 million, some say 100.
At least. Solzhenitsyn said 66 million. Right. But two academics over in Russia recently came up with a report, and they believe over 100 million.
Yeah, that's been my figure, too. I agree. I do agree.
Incredible. Well, here's the thing. Our minds have been poisoned in all of this, and I believe we've really got to work hard to little bitty things. For example, the old slogan, think globally, act locally. And then the planet, the environmental junk about climate change, global warming. All these things are just New World Order points. They're all
devices.
lies.
They're all devices. They're lies. Sure, absolutely.
They are indeed, and our schools have been poisoned from the smallest kids all the way up. We've already seen these colleges. I mean, they've just gone wacko. And 99% of all the professors are all a bunch of liberal crazies.
Yeah.
I mean, and the conservative kids have no chance whatsoever.
No,
I mean,
they're attacked, they're shouted down,
America first.
They're being ejected from classrooms. We're not hearing about all this. It's open war. These aren't colleges anymore. They're indoctrination centers. Go on.
They are. And, when I heard that the judge that ruled against
Trump.
Trump.
His Muslim travel ban, in Washington.
Up in Seattle. I was told, well, he must be okay because, after all, Bush appointed him. I thought, uh-oh. Of course, Bush is one of the biggest liberals in New World Order, plotters that there is. So, whether it's Clinton or Bush, either Bush, or Obama, they're all the same. They carry the baton in a regular, like the 440-yard dash. There's four runners there, but I think now we're really in a real pickle over this. I give Trump great credit. You mentioned that he seems to have changed, and maybe so, but he's under great pressure.
Oh, constant.
And he doesn't.
Sure.
He probably knows a lot of people, but he doesn't. Government is complex and requiring. Of course, they're requiring more now. They want these people to be, the National Security Advisor and so forth, and the Secretary of the Treasury, to have all of these credentials and so forth. And then when you look at their credentials, then they're part of the establishment. They've been there 20 or 30 years as part of this establishment. That's true even of those military generals. I mean, if you're not a member of the Council on Foreign Relations, you won't get far as a military general. I mean, that's just true. Mm-hmm. I remember, I was a lower-ranking guy, and we used to talk about whether this general really deserve to be a general, or did he have favorites behind the scenes? That's what we used to talk about in the Air Force. You know, was it a rigged system in uniform? And now we're seeing that it is true, that many of them are rigged. At least there is some semblance of America still left in the military. I want to give them great credit for that. That may be one of the only institutions left, if we do have that. But I want to say something about Trump. He is under siege now by what we call the shadow government, or the deep government.
Deep state. You got it.
The deep state. This is, the intelligence agencies and so forth. And those agencies are full of Obamaites, of Clintonites, Bush, plotters and traitors to America. Unless you replace, how many hundreds of thousands are there in the federal government? And we're hearing all the time about people refusing to do this. Some in the Border Patrol refuse to do what they should when they're arresting the Mexicans at the border. And of course, at the State Department, they're all a bunch of traitors too. So Trump really has a real problem. Even when you mentioned Jared Kushner, his son-in-law, what does he do there? He's got his daughter. He's married. She's married to Kushner. So is he going to turn against his daughter?
Three Jewish grandkids with that daughter, and the son is married and has one or two Jewish grandkids. I can't remember which. So what's Trump going to do? They've got him.
Yeah, this is much like Stalin. They loaded him up with, he had about 3 different wives, and they were all Jews,
right,
at various times. So they even have your wife to watch you. And I noticed it in the Clintons' situation that Chelsea was married to a Jew. And by the way, he recently ripped people off by his hedge fund went bankrupt.
Yep.
But I'm sure that $25 or $30 billion is in some Jew's pocket. It didn't just go bankrupt.
It didn't vanish. No, of course not.
No, it didn't at all. Chelsea, she's still going to be living it up there.
That's how they get in and they take over. And I do believe there's a chance that Jared Kushner was sent in to try to appropriate Ivanka Trump. And I think it's easily done with chemicals now. You can put something in somebody's drink and all of a sudden they're swooning over you. It's chemicals. It's not a joke. And I think they were only married October 2009. Remember that? Yeah. And then he got her to convert.
Yeah, to Orthodox, the worst kind of Judaism.
He's been involved with
Schneerson kind up in New York.
Rabbi Schneerson. He was the editor, I believe, of a very anti-Gentile newspaper. I can't remember the name of it, but he's got a long history of hating Gentiles. It's there.
Well, Jared's dad, was a criminal. Went to prison actually for corruption in New Jersey. It goes on and on there. But I want to say that even the high tech community. I mean, let's be honest, Jeff. I don't think that Mark Zuckerberg really is the father of Facebook.
No, he's a figurehead. He's a puppet. They put him in there. They made him wealthy beyond his wildest dreams. Another kid that was supposed to be a genius. No.
Now, the United States, of course, we spent billions, trillions in various laboratories across America, that taxpayers' dollars, to set up the Internet. No, Al Gore didn't invent it. We know that, not by any stretch. But whether it's the Internet or lasers or all of these modern things, and then they turned over all this technology to various Jews, so that we have, for example, Google, Facebook, Dell computers, there's Twitter, Intel, Amazon.com. All of these things are run by Jews. Has anybody out there ever wondered why is it that all the media, the ones that are plaguing and tormenting Trump so much, all of the media are run and owned by Jews. It's the Jews. It's the Ben Steins of this world who say Trump is a Hitler. Trump is a fascist. That's the media that's our enemy. And then, of course, in the high-tech area, the Google, Facebook, Amazon, all of these are run by Jews. And I think they're run by Jews who were given these positions.
This is absolutely... Texe,
your heads.
Let me say one thing. There's no question that what you're saying is correct. It's just like Hollywood. It's a Jewish enterprise. Now high-tech, the digital age, is a Jewish enterprise. They know where the power is, and they go for it. They promote their own from within, and they get placed, and they leverage, they buy, and they own. That's it. They control it. You're right.
That's right. You know, I remember, I can't remember the comedian, Steve, whatever. It doesn't matter his name, but he was at the Academy Awards. He was the host several years back, and he got up and he made a joke about the Jews. You can't go see a Jew if you wanted to see a Jew tonight because they're all here. They're in this stadium. You know, they're all giving out the awards and taking the awards. Of course, they run the Academy Awards. They run all the movies.
Right.
And so, you know, Mark Zuckerberg, this genius, this boy genius supposedly, he just put out a 5,800 word essay promoting world government and the new world order.
Sure.
Now, isn't that wonderful?
What a shock.
And I suppose you can get it free just by writing to Facebook.
Sure
Mark Zuckerberg's essay, 5,800 words on why we need a new world order. But the point is that we're in a pitched battle between populism and globalism. Now, I'm not sure that the globalists have figured out a name for us. You know, they tried to say white supremacist, but that didn't seem to work because, you know, there are all these women out there that are, marching for Trump and so forth. So white supremacists didn't work. Then they call them white nationalists. But that doesn't seem to work either too much. Mm-hmm. But they do know it's white people. Mm-hmm. It's white people. They're the ones. I was reading an essay today where a guy, he said, I'm not a member of the KKK. I'm not a member of the neo-Nazis. I'm nothing, but I am proud to be a white man. And he said, I can't say that. You can't say that today. If you say that, if you just were in polite company, let's say at some cocktail party, and you said, I'm proud to be a white man, everyone would look at you with, utter horror. Well, he said something terrible.
Even other Caucasians will look at you. That's how brainwashed they are. Black pride? That's fine. Mexican, Hispanic pride? That's fine. Muslim pride? No problem. But if you say, I'm proud to be a European American, you're in trouble real quick.
You really are. And of course, they're redefining Christianity, but it's true also of Christianity today. You know, I'm proud to be a Christian. Well, now, what kind of Christian are you? If you're sort of, are you like a Britney Spears?
Hey, you pass out condoms in the plate on Sunday? Are you that kind of a Christian?
Right. Do you ask the Muslims to come to your church and say you don't need Jesus because you've got, Muhammad or whatever? Mm-hmm. So that's the kind of Christianity that they want. And right now, Christianity is changing very fast. It's moving along very, very fast. And we're now really, we have a form of Christianity that I believe that the Christian faith, Jesus himself said when he returns to earth, he says, will the Son of Man, meaning himself, find faith at all? Of course, all these people will say, I'm faith-based, I'm of a religion or whatever. But he says, will you find any faith at all in me? And I don't think we will. It'll be very rare.
Boy, that was a very prophetic statement. Yeah.
It really was, and he could see ahead, of course. But in any case, it's interesting, this deep state, this shadow government that involves the intel agencies. Now, they killed JFK, no doubt about it.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, they had help from the CIA, was probably supervising it, but also Israel. The Israelis were involved, and maybe the French in a certain way. But how do they, Jeff, the thing is, I'm not asking for the exact details, but they got away with it. And of course, there were even lies before that in World War II. What a lying war that was. They tell me, well, Texe, you earned the Vietnam Service Medal. Aren't you proud? No, I'm not. 50,000 died.
60.
What for?
Right.
For a lie. We were all told a lie.
That's right.
I'm as patriotic as the next guy, but 50,000 died? No, I'm not very proud of it at all. And I really don't care for Americans to go over and die for Iran, for Israel, really.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if they shoot off rockets, well, let them shoot off rockets. They're not going to come to America, I can tell you that. But the thing about it is, do we really want to die for Iran? I don't want to die. Let them fight it out with Israel. That's great. I see the Jews and the Muslims, Jeff, I hope you'll agree with me. They're two scorpions in a bottle.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You know what happens when you put those scorpions together?
Yeah.
That's what they're. And Jesus talked about scorpions and snakes. He did. He said that he would give his people the power to actually defeat scorpions and snakes. Of course, he wasn't talking about the actual species. Mm-hmm. He was talking about human beings that are snakes and scorpions. And my newest book is entitled Feast of the Beast. And I need to send you a copy of it, Jeff, because it's all about the Jewish religion. And they do worship the Holy Serpent. That's their main god. It's an amazing thing. They worship the serpent. They are scorpions and serpents and serpents.
They're certainly different. They're not us.
No, they're not. They're not like us, and that's why you see they don't want any nation on earth to appreciate its heritage or its races or any aspect.
Now they're against nationalism. They're trying to wipe it off the face of the earth, all of it.
That's right. That's why they're against the white nationalists, and they see us as a great enemy. Because Jews don't see themselves as white people. We're Jews. We're a different species. Mm-hmm. We're gods on earth, and the other white people, well, you're just beast. That's what they believe, and that's part of the Talmud and the Kabbalah and all of that. So I think Trump really, I don't know where he's going, but I know he's got a real tough job here. And I was listening tonight, and they said that he had guaranteed that the head of the National Security Agency would have independence, that he would not be influenced by the president. And I thought, wait just a minute. Did you hear that on TV also?
No, I didn't, and that's a disturbing thing to hear. But what's he trying to say?
Exactly. How can he be guaranteeing that the National Security Advisor?
What's he giving the guy dictatorial independence? I don't understand. That doesn't make any. Did he misspeak? That's bizarre.
Well, it is, unless this is a Rense version of it.
I don't know.
But Mike Pence went over to Europe.
Yeah.
And he kissed up to the NATO people.
I know.
And it's just Pence is a perfect New World Order candidate.
Oh, he's just lurking in the background. He looks, when you see him in pictures with Trump, he looks like a little boy. He's so subservient. He's so nice. He's just waiting to pull the knife out. Believe it.
Well, I think that's what they want. They want Trump to fail. They want to get him in some kind of a compromising situation, or at least it will appear compromising, like Russia. But now, I wonder where Putin lays in all this. Does he see Trump as yet possessing enough power to be his own power base? That's it took Stalin. And Stalin at first appeared also to be servile, to do whatever the Jews wanted.
Well, just remember what I said at the beginning of the program. They get Trump, and they have Pence, President Pence. One heartbeat away from President Pence is President Rat Ryan.
Oh, yeah.
Third in succession.
Well, they'll be happy with Pence though, because he's a rat. Yep. He really is.
There's two of them.
And I think we can both understand why Trump chose him. And when I see a guy who does not do what Trump says, but goes against him,
stabbed him in the back 4 times by my count. Sure.
Right.
This is turning into and taking on all the trappings of a Shakespearean tragedy when you think about it.
Now, if Trump were to fire all of those people,
which he should,
that are going against him, I think then the establishment would rise up and say, "Oh, that proves he's nuts." They would take him out. They would take him out. They can give him a heart attack anytime they want, either by his food or with EMF. They have the means technically to do that.
That's right.
It's amazing to me that he's done what he's already done. I mean, he's hurt the media, which is good.
Yeah.
I mean, they're horrible core designed to destroy our minds.
Correct.
And he has said that. He said they're the enemy of the people.
Those are immortal. Those are immortal words, and they are correct. He is right. That was a very brave and honorable, accurate thing to say, and he did say it.
He did say it. And this thing about jobs, his promise to bring jobs back to America.
Right.
They don't want the jobs to come here.
No.
I mean, Zuckerberg, he all of these people, Bezos, they're more than happy to have all the things done overseas, and
they don't care. They're globalists.
They don't care at all for the American workers.
No. It's nationalism. It's passé. It's now their enemy. They want it gone.
That's right. And the same thing goes for all these professors at universities.
No, you can have. There are very few honorable ones left, I'm afraid. And those who keep their mouths shut out of fear are dishonorable as those who are speaking communism and socialism and putting in all of this curricula that will do nothing but breed social incompetence. But that's what they want.
But their whole world has been toppled. I mean, it really has. I can see that. The 3 legs: the economic, the political, the religious. I mean, their world is being torn up. Hillary's sitting over on the sidelines, crying her eyes out, probably, cursing.
I think
now.
She's working hard. I think Obama's working very hard. Oh, around the clock, you bet. I don't think they're crying. I think they're planning, plotting, scheming, and they're very, very serious things just ahead. Any day, anytime. We got to run Texe.
I think you're probably right on that. And even the courts. Yeah. I mean, here Gorsuch, Neil Gorsuch was appointed, and he goes out and criticizes.
Yeah, Trump. I know. He bit the hand that fed him. I couldn't believe that one.
Didn't he?
Yeah, we've got to wrap it up, Texe. Go ahead. Give me 20 seconds, and we'll say goodnight.
Well, I think we ought to, we've got the will now. They're trying to take it from us. We're headed toward the cliff, and keep on course. I think we're still winning, and that's why they're absolutely going insane. And as long as they're going insane, hey, I'm having a good time.
All right. Well, you keep it up. Thank you, my friend. Talk to you soon. All right? Be well, Texe.
Thank you, Jeff. God bless you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Good night. Welcome back. Hour number 2 on this Monday as we jump into another week, and watch how fast it goes. It's amazing. Texe Mars is back tonight, a week earlier than his normal monthly visit, and we have some very important issues to talk about. And those issues revolve around the First Amendment of the United States the Constitution. Oh, you there, Texe?
Yes, I am, Jeff.
Oh, okay,
glad to be
good.
with you.
Yeah, I heard some noise there. I was worried that you weren't on the line. We're talking about the First Amendment here, ladies and gentlemen, and we're also talking about 1984, but beyond that, we're talking about censorship that is happening right now, right in this real world in real time. And it's getting to be very ugly, and it's getting to be something that we need to talk about. And Texe, wanted to come on tonight, and I said, absolutely, let's get into this, because people don't know. They're not going to find out about this on CNN or MSNBC, for God's sakes. It'll be hushed up. So welcome back, friend, and tell us what's going on.
What is happening right now is I've been banned by Amazon. Amazon, the world's largest book distributor, sent us an email this week and told us that one of my newest books, and I've written over, 63 books, I think now.
Wow! Congratulations, Texe. That's amazing. What an output.
Well, I love to write. I write books that other people just don't want to touch. They're afraid of these things for fear of the Jews. Frankly, my last 4 or 5 books have been about the Jews in various aspects. And this is an area of research that is very rarely done, and I guess I have found out why. Because now this book, most of my books are bestsellers at Amazon. And so now let me tell you the title, because right away people are going to go, ooh, that title. Well, the cover is very fascinating too, the whole cover. The title is this banned book. Now think of it. Now they like to brag. I have quotes from Amazon where they said they do not ban books. They don't believe in that. They believe in a free market of ideas. Let the ideas stand or fall on their own. That's
please,
Mr. Bezos, the fifth richest man in the world. He's got billions. That's what he claims.
Yeah.
Now, this book is entitled Holy Serpent of the Jews.
I got it in my right hand. It's right here.
Okay. And the subtitle, as you can see, Jeff, is The Rabbi's Secret Plan for Satan to Crush Their Enemies and Vault the Jews to Global Dominion. Now, that's what I say. A person who buys this book, and it's only $20. It's over 200 pages. If they buy this book, that's what I will reveal to them inside it. Now,
this is one of the most important books you've ever done, by the way.
Thank you very much. And I really worked hard on this one, because I said to myself, I've never had a book banned. A lot of bookstores have, a lot of book chains, a lot of radio shows wouldn't have me on because of my books. But I've never been banned by Amazon, because, I tell the truth in these books. You can't deny it. And this book, I purposely designed it. I said to myself, Texe, this is going to be so incredible, so unbelievable, this expose of Judaism. I want to tell people what Judaism is really all about. And so I better go to the top rabbis in the world, dead and alive. Yeah. These are some of the most famous rabbis in the world.
Right.
And I want to know what they're saying about their religion and their plans. This is so sure, I've got some commentary in the book, but mostly it's about the rabbi's secret plan for Satan to crush their enemies and vault the Jews to global dominion. Now, where did I get this information? I got it from Jewish books, of course, best-selling books. I got it from Jewish online programs by top Jews, such as at the Kabbalah Center, of Kabbalah in Los Angeles, California, by the same people who taught Madonna and Britney Spears and all these people.
Right.
But I went to the Jews rabbis themselves, and I said, what does the Kabbalah teach about Judaism? What does the Babylonian Talmud, which is their most holy book, it's not the Old Testament now, their most holy book is the Talmud. What does it say about future events? What does it say about the Jews and their thinking about Gentiles? What are they planning to do to us if they win dominion? And they are planning to win dominion, by the way. They've definitely got a plan, and they're working it very hard. So I said, well, I want to reveal that. Now, I've gone, I'm 72 years old, Jeff. Let me just admit it. I'm 72. And for 50 years, I've been studying issues like this. And I have gone to thousands of bookstores, I'm sure, across this country, Christian bookstores, because I've had 3 number 1 Christian best-selling books. So, I'm not a slouch in the book department.
No.
3 best-selling books, number 1 best-selling books.
Mm-hmm. And
as I've gone in those, I've gone over to the religions, comparative religions sections. And, of course, I've gone in B. Dalton books when it was still there, and all these other bookstores, Barnes & Noble and such. And I've always looked for books on Judaism. I wanted to know what they said. And none of them told the truth. And there's no Christian. I can talk to 1,000 pastors and say, Pastor, he can be Baptist, Episcopal, it doesn't matter. Pastor, tell me what the Jews believe in Judaism. And he will usually say something like, they believe in the Old Testament. We Christians have added the New Testament, but they believe in, God, the God of the Old Testament. I said, really? How about the Talmud? Do they believe in that too? And they go, I don't know anything about that, never heard of it. And it's interesting that the Talmud, the Jews say, over and over again, the top rabbis say, the most important book for us, actually it's a series, it's about, depending on the edition, it's 36 to 60 books. And these rabbis, they spend their entire lives studying the Talmud every day, day in and day out, and it's all these books, and they specialize in the Talmud, and the Talmud tells you everything you want to know about Jesus. By the way, what the Jews think about Jesus, what they think about Mary, what they believe are going to happen to the Gentiles, what happened to Jesus. Everything is in the Talmud. This is their guide for daily. In fact, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, the Supreme Court Justice, she said, one book is my daily guide for living, the Babylonian Talmud.
Really? Ginsburg?
Sure.
Our Supreme Court Justice. What a book to live your life predicated upon. My God. No, thanks.
All of these people do it. Herman Wouk, the guy who wrote The Winds of War.
Yeah, Herman Wouk.
And all those movies, came out, The Winds of War and such, with Robert Mitchum and so forth. He said this is the lifeblood of the Judaism religion. So, I wanted to know, what does the Talmud teach? What are they learning in synagogues? I didn't want to see some stale old thing written by some guy who didn't even know. I wanted to know from the rabbis themselves, because this is what the Jews are getting. So I wrote this book, Holy Serpent of the Jews, because let me tell your audience right now, I discovered something incredible. I discovered that the basis of the Judaism religion is their worship of the serpent. They believe the serpent is holy. They believe that Adam and Eve did the right thing in eating of the fruit in the garden. It set man on a path to godhood, and they believe that they are going to be the ones to take advantage of that. They are being elevated to godhood, but only them, because all Gentiles are inferior, like beasts. We're like insects to them. Okay? So they are divine beings on earth, and that's why they can kill the Palestinians without compunction.
Compunction.
They can do horrible, dreadful things without compunction.
Well, they take the Kol Nidre, too, and that gives them another ticket, doesn't it?
That's right. The Kol Nidre is in the Talmud, and it allows them once per year to take an oath in their synagogues. And the Jewish men do this. They take this oath of the Kol Nidre, and what the Kol Nidre does, it says, every oath you've taken this year, or that you're going to take, that is, you don't mean it. Right? You can tell the Gentiles.
You can lie and lie and lie and lie, and you're excused in advance.
Right. In advance. There's all the contracts you go into with the Christian businessmen. You can break those contracts. It's not only legal, it's godly to do that. Now, there's one very interesting, there's many. For example, it talks about a rabbi who had sex with every prostitute on earth. And it says he was a most holy man. I don't think that's most holy.
No.
He went, and it also says in the Talmud, for example, if you're going to have sex with another woman other than your wife, then go to another town. Don't do it in your own town. Go to another town where people cannot recognize you and won't know you. And then you can freely do it with the other woman.
That's right. That makes it okay. These are amazing.
Yeah, it does.
What amazing
Absolutely.
people. What amazing people. Yeah.
And of course, if you have sex with a shiksa, that's a Gentile woman, that's really like having sex with a beast. That's really not intercourse. You haven't violated the law on that.
That's how they use women. They use women like Kleenex. They just throw them away because they're just garbage.
Now, I have a lot of these let's say, shibboleths or their laws inside Holy Serpent of the Jews. But the main thing that I do, I actually have a picture from an online Jewish site, one of the most well-recognized Jewish sites in the world. And by the way, they teach a lot of these things on site. You can go on, you want to learn about Judaism, the real Judaism, you have to go to their websites. It's strange that most Gentiles don't do that. But if you do, you will find these kind of things. For example, I was surfing, and there was a website with a Jewish rabbi teaching. He was sitting at his desk. And as he sat there, Jeff, he rocked back and forth. And he's making these strange sounds. And he was speaking in Hebrew, and he was really going at it.
Yeah.
You know, he was really being very rhythmic.
Was he rocking like they do in front of the Wailing Wall?
That's right. That's exactly like, you've seen these little black outfitted rabbis in front of the Wailing Wall, and they're rocking back and forth, back and forth.
And ladies and gentlemen, what you're going to hear may be new to some of you, but it's the truth, and I hope you never forget it. We've all seen the Jews in their little hats and little black coats and their beards and so forth, and with the scripture open, and they're standing in front of the Wailing Wall, and they're bowing, they're basically bowing their head and standing up straight, bowing their head, standing up straight, over and over, very rapidly. All right, tell them what's going on, Texe.
Well, they're having mental sex. That's all you could really call it. Mental sex with the Jewish goddess. Now, this shocks people because they say, "What?" Yes, the man is literally having mental sex with the goddess. Now, most people say, well, I didn't know that the Jews worship a goddess. I thought they only had, the Most High God, Jehovah. I thought that's all they had. No. You don't know the Talmud. You don't really know the Kabbalah. The Kabbalah has at least 10 gods and goddesses.
They got a pantheon of them, a bunch.
They do, and they have 2 goddesses and 2 gods. Mm-hmm. So if one doesn't give you what you want, you can go to another one. But there's even, listen to this. I'm going to tell people right now. You may not believe this, but there is a penis god. And this penis god, that's right, there's a penis god, and he's constantly he's pestering the princess. There's a lower Jewish goddess named Malkuth, and there's a higher Jewish goddess named Bina. And he'll have sex with one time, sex with the other. And now, when a Jewish man has sex, let's give him a break. Let's say he has it with his wife. He imagines himself as having sex with the goddess, one of the goddesses, okay? Because he believes that he is generating, with sexual power, he is literally recreating the world. Every time a Jewish man has sex, he imagines he is actually having sex with the goddess. And this goddess, Malkuth particularly, recreates the world with her generative energy. Okay, it's a sex cult. It's the biggest, largest sex cult in the world.
Absolutely. God, this is amazing.
In fact, I found a video out, a very popular video, a new video, entitled, let's say it's entitled, what is that? Oh, yes, Sperm. Sperm, S-P-E-R-M. And a Jew
is that another god by any chance?
Well, he does talk about the Kabbalah and so forth. But this Jewish guy, he talks about, by the way, he did this video for his son. He says he wants to talk to his son about sex.
What a great dad. Great father. Yeah, okay.
He is. And he says, many Jews will, of course, benefit from this. And it's the official story of divine sex. He says the Jewish sperm is unique. It is divine. Only it is divine. And so, there's all this stuff, just nonsense stuff that the Jews believe in.
People don't know. And Texe, what you've done in this book and what you've done in many other books is tell people the truth. This book is called Holy Serpent of the Jews. And I would ask all of our Jewish listeners to get the book as well and read it. And if you find fault with it, let Texe know. If you find fault in it, you're going to be actually questioning the actual statements and positions and preachings of some of the highest ranking members of the Jewish religion. That's what the book is full of.
That's right. It is the most famous in the whole world. I mean, from Italy, from Israel, all over the world, I quote these rabbis. And by the way, on the front cover, there's a Jewish six-pointed star, and there's a serpent. And the serpent, it seems there's a infant coming out of the serpent's mouth. That's
going
my front
in.
cover.
It looks like it's going in, but it's whatever. What's going on with that?
Well, now that's true, because I do mention it could be going in or out, but that's another story that I explained in the book. That is the Holy Serpent of the Jews. They call it the Sacred Serpent or the Holy Serpent.
Right.
They say, these rabbis say, that the serpent is their companion. It is their friend. Mm-hmm. The Talmud says on the Sabbath one can conjure up serpents to go and to destroy your enemies. Okay? So they literally believe in serpent worship. But they believe this serpent is actually, they use numerology, supposedly in the Kabbalah, to prove that the serpent is their, now get this, Messiah. Now they've rejected Jesus, but they have a Messiah. It is the serpent. Now, where does this serpent come from? We know it, as in Genesis there, at Adam and Eve. We know that Jesus talks about the Jews
right.
Literally believing in the serpent, and actually Jesus does say that. And I quote Jesus in this book as well. You see, I thought it was just something that Jesus said, hyperbole. He was just sort of denouncing them, but he was telling the truth. And he told the Jews, you have for your God, not the God of the Old Testament, but you have a man-made God. And you have for your religion the tradition that is of elders, he says.
Right.
The old rabbis. That's what you have for your religion. He said, if you believed in Abraham, you would believe in me. But you don't believe in Abraham. And so they don't. Listen, the Jews kill all the prophets. And that's what Jesus said. You're the ones who killed your own prophets.
Yeah.
And I send you holy men. I send you prophets, and you kill them. So this is what Jesus said of the Jews. Mm-hmm. Now, I quote Jesus to pastors, and they look at me blankly. They say, I've never seen that in the Bible. And I said, well, here, let me show it to you. Well, I couldn't preach that. I mean, I'd offend my audience. And they're all a bunch of Zionist freaks.
Yeah.
They don't want to even tell people what Jesus says.
No, it's true. Totally.
And Jeff, that's what you don't have to believe like I do, but I do just simply. I'm just a simple Bible teacher, and I go with the Bible. And these people, they don't appreciate the Bible. In fact, they say it's a waste of time, really, to read the Bible. The rabbis say, read instead the Talmud. That's where you have this spiritual power.
Wow.
So it's an incredible Holy Serpent of the Jews. They worship the serpent, not a God. By the way, when we come back, I'd like to talk to people about the fact they do not pray to God. They do not. Jews don't believe you can pray to God.
Hold on, Texe.
They don't.
It's everything Texe is telling you is in the book and then some. He's got so many wonderful books. They tell the truth. Back in a minute. Hold on. Okay, welcome back. Talking with Texe Morris about his book, Holy Serpent of the Jews. Let's buck this Amazon.com censorship and push this book up to the top. It really is a book that all of you who care about the world around us and how it operates should be familiar with. You've got to understand your enemy. And by saying your enemy, I'm not saying that all Jewish Americans or all Jews are our enemy, but there are a lot of them that are in the business of subjugating you, bleeding you, and keeping you in utter financial bondage to them and their games. All right? You know who I'm talking about. It's a fact. If they were Hindus or Irishmen, I'd say the same thing. It just happens in this case that this is all being, well, it all emanates from 0.37% of the world population. Think about it. Go ahead, Texe.
Well, Jeff, Amazon probably has, I think I've read somewhere, had 7 million books. 7 million
they're
books.
They're going to cancel this and put it on the list, huh?
Mine's the only religious one that I know of. Now, I'll tell you, Jeff Bezos is the owner.
Yeah.
He's the 5th richest man in the world.
Yeah.
He also owns the newspaper that Donald Trump says is the enemy of the people,
yeah.
Washington Post, the lying newspaper.
Yep.
So you can see he's trying to destroy Trump. But here's the thing on this book. They sent me a simple email. They told me that my book did not meet their, quote, content guidelines. Well, I can't really find any content guidelines, but I know they've got books on torture, on incest.
Oh, on rape, on murder, you name it. They've got it, of course.
Exactly. I mean, they've got the most horrible books in the world. And you can get a book on almost any subject you want, but you're not going to find the Holy Serpent of the Jews.
No, well, that tells you the story. I mean, this book is it's too close to the truth. This is the game. That's what they do.
Exactly. Now, I knew something was afoot because the World Jewish Congress and also the Holocaust Museum over in Israel both complained about my book. Now, all they said was that Texe Morris is a notorious anti-Semite, and they told, I'm a notorious anti-Semite, says the World Jewish Congress, and they said that, they asked Amazon to take my book off their list. Now, Amazon didn't. Here's the problem with it. Amazon probably sells, I guess, 80 or 90% of all the books in America.
Uh-huh.
And when a person goes in and types in Holy Serpent of the Jews, they get no such book. There's no listing at all. They don't even tell you that they banned the book, that they censored it. And I was thinking
pretty
about
cowardly,
this,
Texe. Pretty damn cowardly.
Yeah. It is cowardly. They don't even tell people why. Why don't they tell people? This book it tells untruths. It's because they know it's true, and they don't want people to know the truth. And this is the amazing thing to me. They are banning their own rabbis.
Isn't that funny?
But on the other hand, the Talmud says that if a rabbi reveals the religion of the Jews to Gentiles,
mm-hmm.
then he is worthy of death. Wow. Mm-hmm. Worthy of death.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I suppose it's pretty heavy on the rabbis. So, but they must hate a person who actually goes out and does research. But that's what I do.
Yeah.
Now, I want you to turn to page 19, Jeff.
Right.
I actually have a picture there showing the 10 main gods and goddesses. Now, the Jews love to torment Christians and say, "Oh, you believe in 3 gods." The Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. Ha, 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 we just have one in Judaism. That is a lie. That is not true. Here are there 10 gods. You can see them. And by the way, this picture, this serpent, mm-hmm. and there are 10 gods and goddesses,
mm-hmm.
this came from the Jewish Kabbalah, the book of Zohar. So this is from the official teachings of the Kabbalah, which is a huge bestseller in it's in all the occult bookstores, in all the Judaism bookstores.
It's actually becoming more popular, I think, Texe. It's kind of become the trendy book to read, yeah.
It is. Think about this, Jeff. This is where Madonna learned about Judaism, from the Kabbalah.
Mm-hmm.
She went to the Kabbalah Center. By the way, the head of that, Mr. Rabbi Laitman, I quote him, he also praises the Holy Serpent. But I thought so this is what Britney Spears, Madonna, all these women, now get this, who sing and dance with snakes. You've seen those pictures of Britney?
Yeah, Britney Spears, sure, of course.
Holding up the huge serpent.
Yeah.
You've seen Madonna do the same thing.
Yeah.
That's why they're taught that the serpent is going to give them power, great power, to overcome their enemies. So now here is the serpent. This is from the Kabbalah. I didn't make it this drawing. I just took it direct. And it shows these 10 gods and goddesses. And notice that the one at the bottom is Malkuth. That's the goddess who's like the princess. And many of the men, I should say, at least many, not maybe most, have sex with her in their minds. She's the one they're doing their body contortions as they face the Wailing Wall, or maybe they're preaching in the synagogue. And right above her is a god called Yesod, Yesod. That is the penis god. That loves to have sex with this goddess to generate the power that runs the world. In fact, that's how they created the world. They had sex together. Can you believe it? Now,
Malkuth.
Now, this actually comes from Milcom. This is the ancient god. Malkuth is the god known as Milcom. She was the great goddess of the ancients, the one that Solomon, he brought in the Asherah poles, and made God very angry by bringing these false religions. And this is she. Here she is. So they still worship her in Judaism. But this is the tree of life, supposedly, for the Jews. You've heard of that saying. And it's interesting. I've actually seen Baptist pastors, and they were announcing they were going to be teaching on the tree of life. And I thought, oh my goodness, surely they're not preaching on this. Well, they sort of, take the serpent out and they sort of sanitize it. But if you hear of the tree of life, this is the official tree of life of the Jews. And notice the serpent, he goes from bottom to the top. Now, I was reading the protocols of the learned elders of Zion. As you know, the Jews say that's a forgery. That's not true. That book is made up.
Yeah, I know. It just happens to tell the truth, but it's a forgery. Okay. Now,
there's a section in that nobody but the Jews would know. There's a section in there about the Holy Serpent. And it says in the protocols of Zion that our Holy Serpent, our sacred serpent, will go from nation to nation conquering until he has conquered the whole world for the Jews. And then, in the Bible there's something that's symbolical. It talks about Jesus. And it says there will be a great supper of a banquet of the Lamb of God. So it's like all the Christians are going to be there for this great supper, right? And so, it's a symbolic thing. But now the Jews, they must have liked that. That's in the book of Revelation. And they copied that. So they say, we're going to have a great banquet or feast of the serpent. See, because Jesus is Messiah for Christians, but theirs is the serpent. And we're going to actually eat the serpent. We're going to serve the serpent. Now, in the occult world, they believe if you sacrifice a human being or whatever, you must eat the flesh.
I see.
And that gives you great power, you see. And so they believe that they're gaining the power of the serpent, and they're becoming divine beings by eating of the serpent. So it's a very sick kind of religion. But here is this serpent. Imagine here you are studying this religion. You're a Jew, and you learn all about the serpent and how he has gone. See, he's gone through all these gods and goddesses, and there he is at the top, Kether. The uppermost god is Kether, meaning the crown. This serpent, of course, is the crowned serpent. So this is what they believe, that the serpent is to be crowned. He is their Messiah. Now, it's interesting that not only did I discover this by seeing these kinds of pictures and their descriptions in these various Kabbalah books, but I also read the works of one of the greatest scholars of of Israel history. His name is Israel Shahak.
Yeah. I have one of his books, Shahak.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Now, he wrote a number of great books. He died just a few years ago. He was a professor at Hebrew University.
Mm-hmm.
So he's an Israeli, and he talks all about. Now he's not a great fan of Judaism, but he describes it. He wants Christians particularly to know what Judaism really is. And he says Jews lie all the time about our religion to Gentiles, but I'm going to tell you what it's all about. So here this Professor Shahak, in his book, Jewish Religion, Jewish History, which I have a copy of, we offered it through the ministry for a while, he says that when Jews pray, they cannot use the name of God. And I have verified this. Jews do not pray to God because they don't believe in our God. They don't believe in the God of the Old Testament. Their God is named, they give him a name, Ein Sof. Ein Sof. It's the eye, the all-seeing eye. That's what Ein means. Mm-hmm. And Sof means to not know, to not be able to figure out. This God, their great God, the Ein Sof, is inscrutable. He's ineffable. You cannot know him. And you know, when the Jews write his name, they write G-D.
Yeah, I've seen that. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, because they say you cannot say the name of God. Mm-hmm. His name is lost to us. But we call him Ein Sof, the unknowable eye of God. But we don't really know his name. It's lost except to the greatest of rabbis. Well, you know, I wanted to know who these great rabbis were and what they said. Now they said you cannot talk to him. But what he has done, Ein Sof, here's what the Jews believe. They believe that in order for men to communicate with the deity, that Ein Sof created these divine sparks. In other words, he emitted from his own, you might say his person, these sparks of divinity. And these are these circles, and there's 10 of them. Now, there's many more. And one of the gods of the Jewish pantheon is Satan. Because the Jews believe if they don't know God's name and they cannot pray to him, some of them say, well, I'll pray to Satan. He'll give me what I want. And that's where Shahak explains that many of the Jews do pray to Satan. And they believe that Satan gives them things. Satan is not a creature like we think of him as. We think of him as literally the serpent. But they say, no, Satan is designed to be a friend of God's, and he's an errand boy for God. So we can pray to him, and he can give us things also. So think about these Jews, a very devout, religious, Jewish Orthodox believer praying to Satan. And if he's not praying to Satan, maybe he's praying to Malkuth or to Bina or to Hokmah or one of these other gods and goddesses. So these are just incredible things. But what I wanted to do was show this Holy Serpent and where he's really taught. And they believe that one day the serpent will make each Jew a god on earth. He will resurrect all the dead Jews.
Going to be crowded around here. Yeah.
I suppose so. And they will all be divine beings. Now, the serpent will make them the conqueror of all of the Gentiles. Now, the Gentiles, they are inferior creatures. They're made only to serve the Jews. All of their property will be taken from them by the serpent or his powers on earth, his agents, the Jews, and they will be given to the Jews. They will be very, very rich. And then they will be given a choice. Every Gentile will be given a choice. You can serve us. You can be our servant, our slaves, or you will die. We will behead you. And it's just like, you talk about...
I've heard that before, yeah.
Exactly. Well, that's in the Bible. The Bible says they're going to behead us.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. This is what the Muslims, this is where they got theirs. They also are beheading people who won't believe, the infidels who refuse to believe in Allah. Well, the Jews do so too. Now, the Jews say in their Talmud that, of course, they cannot fully institute it right now because they don't have the power. But when they get the power, that's when they. And this is what happened in the Soviet Union. Suddenly, the Jews overthrew the Tsar, and Lenin and Trotsky and all the others were Jews. I think 19 of the first 22 in the Politburo were Jews. And that's when they said, now we have these Christians. Now we have them by the, you know what? And they began to slaughter and destroy them.
Right.
And there's a letter from Lenin, and it goes out, literally a letter. It went out to all of the Jewish rabbis throughout Russia. And he said, are you pleased with what we're doing? We're closing down all the Christian churches. Now, this is interesting, too. Alexander Solzhenitsyn, the man who was called the conscience of the 20th century.
Yes. Yeah.
He wrote the Gulag Archipelago, which sold, 50 million copies?
Something like
of that book.
Yeah.
He says that 70%, a full 70% of all the commandants of the concentration camps in Russia, that's the gulags, had commandants who were Jewish rabbis. Now that's incredible.
That's sick.
There were thousands of gulags.
Yeah.
And he spent 10 years. Solzhenitsyn spent 10 years in one of them. He should know. But he says that Christians were treated far different. They were tortured. They were hated by the communists. But Jews were treated quite well, Jewish criminals and such that were sent to these camps.
Oh, sure.
Because the Jews really ran the country. For example, Khrushchev, his real name is Nathan Perlmutter. So we have all of these Jews. And of course, this is why they hate Putin. Putin 2 years ago, in a public meeting of rabbis, explained that it was the Jewish religion and the Jewish ideology that caused the murders of so many Christians.
Right.
And boy, I bet those Jews were sitting in their seats, they were angry at him.
Yeah, sure.
So these are the kinds of things that I write in my Holy Serpent of the Jews. Now, here's the whole thing, Jeff. Should they hide this that they've banned my book? Shouldn't they tell? I can't even go home. I went tonight and I looked for it all over the internet.
It's total cowardice, Texe, what they're doing. They're not even, they can't even be honorable enough to say, yeah, we're banning the book. They can't do it. This is what they do. I get so tired of it. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you something, Jeff. Now, I'm gonna tell your people the truth. I do not accept 1 penny in royalties on my books. Every profit, there is really not a profit on my books, but every cent we get for these books goes back into the ministry, and I write other books. That's what I do.
Right.
And that's why I've written so many books, because I don't take this money, okay? It just automatically goes to the ministry. I don't accept any royalties. When we were audited by the IRS, they were sort of amazed about this.
Yeah.
But I don't think American people, and I know especially your audience and my audience, they don't like being told what they can read and what they cannot read. They say, I'll make up my mind for myself. Because the people that listen to Rense or to Texe Mars radio programs, they're thinking people. They want to know the truth. They're angry at this fake news stuff. And so they're going to be angry when they discover this book has been secretly banned by Amazon and cannot even be found on Amazon's list out of millions of other books. Now, I read recently where Ivanka Trump, Nordstrom lied and said, "Oh, your clothing line is not selling."
Yeah. It's booming.
It backfired on them because people decided, listen, I'm not going to let you tell me what I can buy and what I can't buy.
That's right.
And I understand her clothing line. It recently came out that her clothing line is up 346%. So people went to online and they just bought her clothing. So, I mean, it's a big bestseller.
Sure.
But Nordstrom refuses, because they're trying to ban her. They're trying to embarrass Trump.
It's another slap in the Trump family's face. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what happened to the coffee maker? I can't even remember the name.
Starbucks.
Thank you, Starbucks.
Yeah, they were going to hire 10,000 Muslims to work in their shops, and guess what? People didn't like that.
No, they didn't. So they just quit buying at Starbucks. They went somewhere else. And there's plenty of other coffee places.
Yeah.
And I don't go to Starbucks. I don't go to Nordstrom. I go somewhere where they'll appreciate people like me. I say people like me, the people who voted for Trump.
Yeah.
But I pray that people will order this book. And I promise them I will not accept 1 penny in royalties. So when they're buying this book, what they're doing is contributing to my ministry to go forward and to publish other books. And that's what I'm going to do. I have a great one called The Destiny of the Jews. I'm working on it now. And it will be a truthful book. Because, I've decided long ago that if I write a book that has anything in it that's not true, I'm going to be sued like crazy. I mean, these people are lining up to try to sue me.
Oh, it's of course. It's common sense. It's your best possible protection. And you wouldn't do anything else. You tell the truth. I mean, it's anyway. Go ahead. Yeah, this is great.
Yeah, well, I wrote about the New Age movement. I wrote Dark Secrets of the New Age, a landmark bestseller. And that book, I told the truth.
Right.
And that's what I do. And I love to hear from some people who say, even when I get a little typo or a misspelled word, people will write to me. They help me.
Do they?
And
That's
they
nice.
Keep me straight. Yeah. And I fix it the next edition. And that's what we do. We take care of the folks. But in any case, I pray that people will buy this, not for my sake, but I hope they'll buy it like they buy Ivanka Trump's, clothing
Now, what we
line.
want to do is force Bezos and Amazon to get real, put this book back where it belongs, or at least put up a sign, a notice. We're not selling Texe Marr's book, Holy Serpent of the Jews, because whatever. I don't care, but be honest. Stop being sleazy about it. It's just disgusting.
Yeah, they should tell me why. They can't say you're an anti-Semite. No, they got to explain why. Why am I an anti-Semite? I quote all these Jewish rabbis.
All you're doing is actually presenting the best of their whole alleged religion. These people are speaking the highest truths of Judaism. It's right there. It's all right there.
It really is.
Well, you're a marvelous researcher, Texe, and you're working on another one now called The Destiny of the Jews?
Right. The Destiny of the Jews. And I'd like to tell people my website if I can. Since
Well,
it's
of
not
course.
on Amazon.
You click on Texe's name, or go ahead and tell them.
Well, it's powerofprophecy.com, powerofprophecy.com, or they can go to my name, Texe Marrs, TexeMarrs.com. They'll see a description of this book. I even have, if they'll go over to the archives, there's a whole article on this book. And I talk also about the book being banned and such. But I pray that people will get it. And then, I want people to judge for themselves. We have smart folks that listen to Rense. And I want them to get this book. Yeah. And if they don't believe this book is true, they should write to me. But when they write to me, they need to tell me why they believe all these other rabbis are liars.
Are liars. Of course. You ought to offer a money-back guarantee on the book, just to be fun, because nobody could ask for their money back on the basis of this being anything less than the truth. So in a way, they'd be beyond hypocritical, and our listeners wouldn't do that. Anyway.
Well, I'll tell you, I will do that. I'll be glad to give anybody's money back. Anybody that's not satisfied with this book, write to me, and you don't have to even send me back the book. But be honest about it, and I'll trust you. And you can.
Well, that's amazing. Look, this book is one of a million. You won't find another one like it. Holy Serpent of the Jews by Texe Marrs, and I'm amazed at your output, Texe. Amazed. Congratulations on this book. Shame on Bezos and Amazon. I'm sure there are a lot of people there who don't like what he's doing. Let's shame him by making this book as popular as it should be. All right? Holy Serpent of the Jews. Yeah. All right, Texe. Thank you, and I'll see you next Monday. All right?
All right, and God bless you, Jeff.
Thank you, Texe. Good night.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Right. Holy Serpent of the Jews. It really is a stunning book, and all it is the truth. And they don't seem to want that truth out there, do they?